On April 8, 2024, the world is anticipating an extraordinary celestial event that will captivate our attention, a rare total solar eclipse. But this is not just any ordinary eclipse. It holds intriguing connections to the predictions surrounding the 2024 elections, particularly their impact on the United States and Israel. Some even speculate that this celestial phenomenon could be a signal of the end times. In this video, we will dive deep into the true meaning behind this solar eclipse, unraveling its implications. Brace yourself for the shocking conclusion that awaits. Throughout various parts of the Bible, we find references to celestial phenomena in relation to prophecies about the last days. Verses such as Luke 21 mention signs in the sun, moon, and stars when discussing the timing of the last days. It is no wonder that when people witness unusual or rare astronomical events, they begin to ponder if the end times are drawing near. To truly understand the meaning behind a sign like a solar or lunar eclipse, it is crucial to reflect on history, explore biblical references to similar events, observe ongoing global events, and carefully analyze the circumstances. By combining these elements, we can discern whether there is a genuine warning or if it is part of a larger unfolding biblical prophecy. As wisely stated in Ecclesiastes 1, "What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun." This passage suggests that history tends to repeat itself. Furthermore, it emphasizes that God's character remains constant, unchanged from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This means that God continues to communicate as he always has, addressing sin and nations throughout history and the Bible. Recurring patterns emerge, especially concerning idolatry and a nation's sin, which God consistently confronts. Every significant prophet in the Bible who addressed Israel's idolatry and sin was accompanied by specific signs and warnings indicating what would happen next. Reflecting on Revelation chapter 6, we encounter the symbolism of the four horsemen representing God's judgment on nations. First comes a figure representing conquest or leadership, leading to division and global turmoil. Next, war causes conflicts and disturbs the peace. Subsequently, famine follows, bringing economic hardships and agricultural struggles. Finally, death arrives, spreading plague and disease. These events unfold on a global scale but also echo recurring patterns seen throughout history in the Bible. These signs often arise in response to the sins and idolatry of a nation, illustrating the cyclical nature of divine intervention over time. For example, God appointed Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian conqueror, to bring judgment not only on Israel but also on neighboring nations. Before the sieges, Jeremiah the prophet mentioned a severe plague and famine that devastated the land for years, weakening the nations and preparing them for Babylon's advance. The Bible, in Jeremiah 38, conveys the message of the Lord, stating that those who remain in the city will die by the sword, famine, and disease. However, those who surrender to the king of Babylon will live. They will escape with their lives as a reward. Looking at recent events starting from 2020, we witnessed all four signs: plague, famine, economic hardships, widespread civil unrest, and the specter of war with Russia. These events impacted not only America but also the entire world. They serve as potent reminders of prevalent sin and idolatry in nations and signal God's judgment on the earth. While this does not necessarily mean it is the last days, the signs are undeniable and suggest that significant changes are approaching. If these are indeed signs of judgment, there must be reasons behind them. There must have been warnings or indications preceding these judgments, as God never acts without first revealing his intentions to his prophets. Now let's delve into the significance of the sun and the moon in prophetic signs. Did you know that in biblical prophecy, the moon consistently represents Israel, while the sun symbolizes the Gentile nations? Pay close attention, for things are about to get even more interesting. The book of Genesis reveals that the sun, moon, and stars were not created until the fourth day. Before that, light already existed on the earth, along with vegetation like trees and flowers created on the third day. It is worth noting that trees and plants depend on sunlight and rain, but the sun itself was not brought into existence until the fourth day. How could this be? This shows us the critical role of the sun and the moon in sustaining Earth's climate and ecosystems. Without them, There would be no ocean currents, no weather, and consequently, no rain. In that ancient time, rain was not a common occurrence until the days of Noah's flood. Genesis 2:5 sheds light on this, explaining that there were still no shrubs or plants because God had not yet sent rain. Instead, the land relied on streams that rose from the earth to water it. So, why did God create plants on the third day before the sun, the moon, and the stars on the fourth day? It appears that God wanted to emphasize his sovereignty over all creation, demonstrating that he can sustain life and provide for his creation without relying on the natural order we observe today. Now, let's fast forward to the book of Revelation. In Revelation 6, we encounter a description of cosmic disturbances during the opening of the sixth seal. The sun turns black like sackcloth, the moon turns blood red, and the stars fall from the sky. These cataclysmic events signify the approaching day of the Lord, a time of divine judgment and reckoning. The imagery here suggests that the sun, moon, and stars, the very elements that sustain life on earth, will be dramatically affected during the end times. The darkness that shrouds the sun and the blood-red moon symbolize God's judgment and the impending doom of nations. The falling stars represent the upheaval and collapse of earthly powers and authorities. Returning to the upcoming total solar eclipse, we must consider its timing and location. The eclipse is set to occur on April 8, 2024, visible primarily across North America, with its path of totality stretching from Mexico to Canada. This geographical focus on the United States is significant, as it is currently the most influential nation on the world stage. The year 2024 also corresponds to a crucial event, the presidential election in the United States. Coincidentally, this election could mark a turning point in the nation's history, with potential implications for its relationship with Israel. The outcome of this election could have far-reaching consequences for both nations and the world at large. Considering the biblical significance of the sun and the moon, as well as their representation of the Gentile nations and Israel, respectively, the solar eclipse occurring during this election year raises intriguing questions. Could it be a sign of divine intervention in the affairs of nations, particularly the United States and its relationship with Israel? While it is essential to approach such interpretations with humility and discernment, it is undeniable that history has shown how nations' actions and choices can align with divine purposes and bring about significant consequences. The eclipse serves as a reminder that God remains active in the affairs of humanity, and his plans and prophecies continue to unfold. The upcoming total solar eclipse on April 8, 2024, holds profound symbolism and potential implications. While we should not jump to definitive conclusions about its meaning, we can reflect on biblical patterns, historical precedents, and ongoing global events to discern potential signs and warnings. Whether this celestial phenomenon is a direct message from God or a natural occurrence with symbolic significance, it reminds us of our need for spiritual introspection, repentance, and seeking God's guidance in these tumultuous times. The Bible contains prophecies and teachings about significant events that will unfold in the end times. One such event is the 70-year tribulation period, which will be triggered by a crucial event and culminate in the judgment of nations. The Bible describes a time when God will gather all nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat for judgment, specifically focusing on their unfair treatment of Israel, including the dispersal of its people and the division of its land. In recent times, we have witnessed nations participating in the division of Israel, a situation that was hinted at in the book of Joel. The Bible even points out specific nations responsible for this division, namely Tyre and Sidon, which were regions inhabited by the Phoenicians known for their expertise in commerce. This raises intriguing connections between ancient Phoenicia and modern nations such as the European Union, the United Nations, and even America, which are linked to the ancient regions of Tyre and Sidon. These modern nations are expected to play a role in shaping and promoting the 70-year peace treaty as prophesied in the Bible, which will be confirmed by the Antichrist. It is crucial to understand the significance of these events and what they mean for the future. In 2017, two significant and unusual events occurred in America that caught the attention of those studying biblical prophecy. The first event was the Great American Solar Eclipse, which took place on August 21, 2017. This eclipse was visible across the entire nation from the West Coast to the East Coast. However, It is important to note that an eclipse alone doesn't hold much significance unless accompanied by other events that align with biblical and Israelite contexts. The following month, on September 23, 2017, another exceptionally rare event occurred. This event involved the alignment of stars and constellations, known as the sign of Revelation 12. On this date, the constellations of Virgo and Leo, along with Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, the Sun, and the Moon, aligned in a unique way resembling the depiction of Revelation 12 in the Bible. This alignment occurred only twice in history, adding to its significance. These celestial events served as a severe warning to the United States, particularly regarding its relationship with Israel and the division of its land. The signs pointed to a 1 2-year period symbolizing how this division may occur with the Antichrist. From August 2017 to January 28, 2020, President Donald Trump proposed a century deal called Peace to Prosperity, advocating for a two-state solution that would grant 70% of the land of Israel, including the eastern half of Jerusalem, to the Palestinians. This proposal mirrored the ancient conflict between Israel and the Philistines, historical enemies of Israel, and was seen by many as a potential fulfillment of biblical prophecies. However, following this proposal, a series of events unfolded, including the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, causing widespread devastation worldwide, significant economic struggles, civil unrest, conflicts with Russia, and the loss of leadership for both Netanyahu and Trump. Surprisingly, instead of witnessing the signs of the four horsemen as expected, we saw their signs occurring in reverse order. Additionally, as a consequence of these events, we observed the emergence of alliances resembling Gog and Magog, primarily through the oil nations of OPEC aligning with BRICS alliances, including China. These alliances have effectively challenged the dominance of the American dollar in trade, leading to significant inflation and the imminent collapse of the U.S. banking system. Looking ahead to April 8, 2024, exactly 7 years after the initial eclipse in August 2017, another solar eclipse is predicted to occur. This time, it will not only be visible across the United States, but its path of totality will form a significant X shape across the country. Interestingly, unlike the 2017 eclipse and the sign of Revelation, this eclipse will only cover the eastern half of the nation and will occur 7 months before the 2024 presidential elections. Once again, the constellation of Leo, symbolizing Judah and Jerusalem, will align with the solar eclipse on April 8, 2024. This constellation is associated with the Lion of Judah, representing Jesus. What does all this mean in biblical prophecy? The number 7 often symbolizes completion, indicating the end of a cycle. In the context of Israel, it refers to the conclusion of Israel's 70 weeks of judgment, represented by cycles of 7 years. The 2024 solar eclipse, with its X shape resembling the Hebrew letter Tav, takes on significant meaning. The Tav symbolizes a mark or seal and issued only twice in the Bible. In Ezekiel chapter 9, it represents a seal of protection placed on those who mourned for the sins of the first Jewish temple before its destruction by Babylon. It also echoes the marking of the doorposts during the first Passover in Exodus, foreshadowing the mark of the beast and the seal of protection over the 144,000 witnesses during the 70-year tribulation period. Therefore, the Tav mark in the United States signifies both protection and judgment, especially concerning the division of the land of Israel. It serves as a reminder of the biblical prophecies and the consequences that may follow if the nations continue to play a role in dividing Israel unfairly. The alignment of celestial events, the proposals for peace treaties, and the emergence of alliances all seem to converge towards a significant period in biblical prophecy. The signs and symbols associated with these events serve as warnings and reminders of the importance of understanding and interpreting the scriptures in the context of the present day. While it is impossible to predict with certainty the exact unfolding of future events, it is essential to remain vigilant and discerning, observing the signs and seeking wisdom from the scriptures. 2024 solar eclipse and its alignment with the constellation of Leo, representing Judah and Jerusalem, may hold profound implications for the future. As we navigate through these times, it is crucial to stay informed, engage in discussions, and seek understanding. By doing so, we can gain insight into the potential impact of these events on the world stage and our own lives. The study of biblical prophecy is a vast and complex field, requiring careful examination and interpretation. The signs and symbols we observe serve as pieces of a puzzle, guiding us towards a deeper understanding of the divine plan. In conclusion, the events and alignments described in the Bible, along with the occurrences witnessed in recent times, provide thought-provoking insights into the potential fulfillment of biblical prophecies. While there may be differing interpretations and opinions, the significance of these events cannot be denied. It is up to each individual to study, reflect, and draw their conclusions regarding the role and implications of these events in relation to biblical prophecy.